Hello, hello. Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Welcome to, of course, the number one crypto show in the Philippines. Welcome to Fresh Money. As usual, no? Ano, Jed? How was your week so far? Last week? Very intense, ano?
Very intense. Yeah, lots of work had to be done the past week, but fortunately, the markets are looking better today.
Oh, that's good because I think mamaya dun sa ating state of the market, we will be seeing what's happening with our major cryptocurrencies na medyo ginagaya ng lahat ng mga issues, no? And of course, ngayon is a very special episode, Jed, because first and
Yes.
foremost, yeah, we have our first guest for this afternoon, no? Si yung ating pinaka-pogi at pinakasikat na head of the Metaverse, si Mr. Patrick Lao, no? So for those of you guys who have a lot of questions with regard to NFTs, yung mga games ngayon, of course, yung question ko dyan, Jed, is that ngayong mababa yung mga presyo ng crypto, is it time to, buy Axis? Or, kunyari, buy na yung mga step and shoes? Since all the prices are
Yeah,
low, mamaya pag recover, we
could
can
be
play it. Ha? Diba? Pwede,
an
no?
opportunity.
So mamaya, if you have similar questions like that, nandyan si Mr. Lau to answer everything. Yan. Okay. So, of course, without further ado, my name is Ed Martinez.
And I'm Jed Ignacio.
Welcome to Fresh Money. And of course, sorry. Ikaw pala, Jed.
So as always, those people who ask the most thoughtful and thought-provoking and insightful questions will be rewarded 300 pesos worth of crypto. So ask questions, comment, and share this Facebook Live for a chance to win this prize.
That's right. So, marami tayong mga regulars na nakita natin ngayon, na friends ko pa, no? Of course, sana hindi lang kayo, no? You need to share the show to your friends and family members para naman meron tayong kasama sa ating usual Monday hangout. Okay. All right. So, without further ado, simulan na natin. So, before we invite si Mr. Lau to our discussion, let's start with the state of the market. Jed, how's Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin still playing in a quite tight range of 20 to 30K. But over the past month, the month of May in particular, has been brutal for the crypto markets as we see that Bitcoin broke down from its uptrend where it was making higher lows, but it was broken due to the stablecoin meltdown from Terra. So this really aggravated the market and scared everyone that was participating in crypto. So it was a pretty much risk-off environment, and everyone was rushing to liquidate their holdings, which is why we saw Bitcoin test the macro range low of around 28K to 30K. And as of late, it has been in a pretty boring price action. Because as you can see, it's playing that tight range of 28 to 30K. And we see that recently it's trying to make an attempt to break out of that 31K resistance. So if you take out this key level, the next level we'll be looking at is 34,000. So that's something very much to keep an eye on. But as mentioned before, the current macro environment or the current global economic environment right now is not very favorable to crypto assets as inflation continues to rise and the Federal Reserve of the US continues to tighten monetary conditions. So for those people who are looking to have a relatively safe entry, it's best to monitor inflation. That's the number one indicator of when the Federal Reserve will have a more accommodative monetary policy, wherein risk assets such as stocks and crypto would benefit and may continue its uptrend. So if we see inflation somehow slow down significantly, then that's a good indicator that maybe it's time for risk on. But as of now, it's better to be cautious. But of course, there's a possibility that we can see a relief rally in cryptocurrency as we had a pretty brutal past weeks.
That's right, Jed. And yung weekend conversation ko dyan, my brother was asking me, ba't naman related yung Bitcoin dun sa stablecoin meltdown, no? But I tell him because, that the LFG, the Luna Foundation Guard, was actually trying to sell off their
That's right.
Bitcoins, no? At a lower price. And syempre, pag nagsimulang yung ganyang massive selling, of course, it creates a vicious cycle wherein people are now na are experiencing a loss because of this are starting to sell. And then, yan, yung nakita niyo yung parang huge uh, drawdown dyan sa Bitcoin chart na yan. No? But as Jed mentioned, medyo nag-stabilize ng konti yung prices as of now. But I'm still afraid that it's still trading on that very tight range. Na
Mm.
mapunta po tayo sa Ethereum dahil wala pa yung ating guest speaker ngayon, ano? So again, I find myself trying to draw newer and newer support levels for Ethereum. As mentioned last week, medyo parang nagkatotoo yung nabanggit natin, ano? During that drawdown, it really stopped at that 1711 level, ano? So doon talaga medyo nag-antay yung market. Uy, hindi pa ito na-update, pero meron tayong updated version yan. Ano kaya yan? Kaka-update ko na kasi galing ko sa meeting. Anyways, just like the Bitcoin chart, of course, the Ethereum chart looks a little bit more negative in my view. At least si Bitcoin has respected that support level. But si Ethereum, on the other hand, yung parang flag na nagpo-form noon, medyo na-break niya. Again, there's a relief rally. So hopefully, this kind of breaks the former support na naging resistance na and then further upward. So for the next support levels, we're looking at this very, very strong, seemingly very strong level at 1711, 1526, 1292, and ito sana hindi na tayo umabot dito na 1092. But nevertheless, I still be considering to increase my position. Not financial advice, guys. It's just me. I like drawdowns like this because I think these are opportunities for me to increase my holdings in Ethereum. So again, doesn't really look on the MSI on the RSI chart. It's still quite moderate, but for the MACD charts, since it's still below 1, ano? So it is expected to be trading sideways from now until the foreseeable future. Now, once we see this above the above the 0 level, then we can, parang more or less meron ng short-term uptrend kahit paano. But then again, these are the support levels that you should watch out for, no? Well, for the resistance, syempre, yung dating support, yung dating support, naging resistance na ngayon. So, of course, yan nangyayari yan pag nagtuturn yung market, ano? Yung mga dating nagpa-purchase doon will be looking to sell it naman once the prices go there because, of course, of desperations. Especially, very true for weekends. So, yan. So far, no? So, ang tinanong ni sa akin ng brother ko, Jed, no? Pag ganyan mga bear market, so, ibig sabihin, walang pwede sa crypto? Nung Saturday in particular, I had this opportunity to talk to yung mga parang titas of Manila, Jed. So very, very old ladies in their retirement. And they were kind of taken aback because I was telling them about, some other options you can consider during these bearish movements in the market. And I told them in particular 3 things. One is that they can consider, cost averaging, trying to increase their position, being ready for that next uptrend. Remember, noong 2017, nagkaroon din tayo ng ganyang massive corrections in the market. I think for ETH in particular, nasa 96% yung drawdown yan. So just to give everyone some idea on what's happening there, how it feels like. So yung 1 million pesos mo, if you went in at the peak of the 2017 rally, and natapos mo yung drawdown na yon, you would have lost 96%. So parang 40,000 na lang yung pera mo out of 1 million. So, ganun ka-deadly, di ba? And once you have that event in your life, medyo magdadalawang isip ko na sa crypto, no? At hindi mo na siya i-consider as a viable asset class, diba? To diversify your investment. So, ano dapat mong gawin? During these times, you wanna be able to control your emotions when these corrections do happen because they're natural in cryptocurrency. So, my view there is that instead of buying one time, big time, or buying a huge amount, then you can buy it slowly in a monthly buying program. So not only will you use the market's natural volatility, Jed, into trying to catch this at a lower price, but more importantly, it changes your perception when it comes to volatility. Instead na natatakot ka na, ay, correction na naman, oh my God, parang hindi ka na maihi. Tapos hindi mo na kayang kausapin yung wife mo, yung partner mo sa mga gantong bagay. Instead, you're happy. You're, di ba, sharing over dinner conversation. Oh, bumagsak na naman yung Bitcoin or Ethereum, then I'm still trying to buy it. So, again, it turns yung being afraid to an opportunity to really increase your position. Di ba? So, another thing that they can do, Jed, no, is the staking. So, ako, I taught them how to engage yung mga 2 largest platforms for staking. Ako, most of my positions are here. Yung mga na-salvage ko kahit paano from the Terra USD meltdown. Ano? So I was able to put it in 3 institutions. So we have Celsius and Nexo. These are the 2 largest
Mhm.
parang staking or yield providers in the internet. Tsaka I really like this particular local startup in Southeast Asia called FinBlocks kasi they're
Yeah.
giving away parang 15% JED for your USDC or USDT. So,
Where
di
are they
ba?
getting the yield though?
I think it's part of their VC capital trying to attract more users. So,
Ah,
kung yung natural rate yun nasa 7, 9%, then 7 to 9%, then they add another like 6%, 7%.
I
But then
see.
again, I didn't ask them to put everything there. Siyempre, dati may nagbigay ng 20% tapos nasira. So sabi ko na lang naman, it's a good kicker to your entire portfolio. Again,
Mhm.
always remember to diversify these things. And last but not the least, kaya sa tingin ko, Jed, very timely episode natin today is because as sabi ko rin sa kanila, you have to also try to consider yung mga ibang applications of crypto like yung Metaverse. So we have the
Mhm.
NFTs, NFT games na saktong-sakto naman mamaya si Mr. Patrick Lao will be gracing us and sharing with us his thoughts on the entire thing. Okay? So since wala pa siya, let's move on na to the word of the day, no? Ay, teka lang, Jed, sorry. Bago pa lang lahat, since we have time to really wait for me. So, nakikibati tayo kay Miss Gemma Dao, watching from Israel.
Wow.
Naman dyan.
International na yung podcast.
For sure, for sure. I hope medyo safe naman tayo dyan, no? Kasi balita ko minsan may mga rocket blast daw, pero sana hindi naman masyado, no? And also saying hi to our viewers from Bicol, si Marlene Brace, no? Kamusta dyan sa Bicol? Ayun. Do you think that there will be a mania phase in the upcoming months? Parang mania, hindi masyado. Siguro mania going down. Not mania going up.
Ed's bearish.
Not so much. Sakto lang. Ako, I'm just open to all possibilities.
Yeah.
And I tell this naman to every investor I meet. No? Ako naman, I don't have a very strong position. I'm always looking for opportunities, but I just, read what the charts tell me. So, ito, ang tawag doon na malin is a capitulation. Ito talagang naghagis na lahat dahil takot na takot. Kaya nga, di ba, more importantly, you have to consider cost averaging kasi pag naghahagisan ng ganyan during a capitulation phase, then nasasalo mo na kahit paano. And I've learned this also from yung mentor ko dati in my former employer, no? Sabi niya, it's really hard to catch the bottoms or yung catch the bottoms or sell at the peaks, no? And then, ang sinasabi niya during these phases of the market is that you have to trade what you think, not what you see. Ano pagkakaiba nun? Pag trading what you think, take a look at valuations. Your question is, mura na ba yun o hindi? Kasi during these times, especially pag naghahagisan na ng pera, pababa, no? If you take a look at the slow and talagang entirely lang on a technical perspective, hindi mo bibilin eh. Kasi talagang active downtrends pa yan eh. So, pero pag hindi mo naman nabili at nag-recover yung market, di ba, pag biglang may absence of sellers, may vacuum biglang pok, tataas pa ganon in a rally minsan. But most of the time, it happens rather slow, tatahimik yan, tsaka sisipa pataas. So yun lang. Another greeting from ito si CJ Ashgrave Pares galing Cebu. No.
One of our regulars.
Yes. Nakapunta ka na ba ng Cebu, Jed?
Not yet, but I want to. They say it's a nice place there and good food.
Yeah, man. Tsaka ako, kwento pa naman sa amin CJ Ashgrave kung saan magandang dumalaw dyan. Ako, I went to a place na you called Baguio of Cebu, no? Parang may highway. Meron siyang parang highway dun sa likod of the island that has na may area na nakakapag-grow ng mga strawberries, no? Meron doon anong tawag?
So malamig rin siya?
Malamig din, bro. Tapos nandun lahat ng mga strawberry farms nila. So very interesting. I didn't know that there was something like that in Cebu. So CJ Ashgray, anong tawag doon sa place na yun? Diba? Okay, so meron pa tayong mga nagpapa-shoutout dito, no? Ito, si Lawrence Babanto watching from Dammam Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Lawrence, kamusta naman dyan? Mainit pa o malamig? Oo, mainit. Ano? Pero, Lawrence, maraming nagtatanong sa amin dyan, especially mga people who are trying to remit money from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the Philippines. Ano ba yung mga wallets available there, Lawrence? Kung ma-share mo naman sa amin through the chat. Ano mo naman, i-share mo sa amin kung ano yung mga types of wallets so we can also guide other customers. Yan, ito pa. Mayroon pang isa, magandang hapon kay Christian Caburian. Nasa crypto capital si Christian. Saan tawag nilang mini capital of crypto in Web3? Di ba sa La Union?
Really? La Union?
Di ba? At nandun lahat ng developers kasi, di ba? Medyo
Interesting.
they're working on their laptops. Na nakaka-tempt nga magpunta ng
Yeah.
La Union.
Daming
No?
co-working space dun eh.
Talaga ba? O yun, dahil dun. Di ba?
Yeah.
So, Christian, kamusta naman dyan ang environment mo dyan sa La Union? Sulit ba yung beach? Pwede ba tayo mag-hold ng Fresh Money episode dyan kahit minsan? Invite mo naman kami. Ayun, ito pa si Mr. Gaudencio Lerios. Magandang hapon mga sir, watching from Leyte. Nako, from Leyte. Ang alam ko lang dyan, Jed, is the landing. Leyte landing. Hindi ko masyado familiar sa Leyte.
We also haven't been there.
Di ba ako din, di ba punta? So, Mr. Gaudencio, share ka naman ng mga pwede nating gawin dyan sa Leyte. No? Ano bang mga trip mo dyan? Ha? Ngayon, last but not least, sa mga shoutouts natin, si Mr. Jomar Bicar, happily viewing from Quezon City. Oh, for sure, nakapunta tayo dyan, Jed. Ano? The big city. Dyan ko na-meet yung wife ko sa QC. As if parang
taga din siya.
Taga QC siya. Born and raised, educated, and matured.
Nice.
Yes. Ito pa, meron pa isa. Rainy afternoon daw from Mr. Kevs Kinlian. Rainy afternoon watching from Cavite. Sana may payong ka, sir. Okay, sir. Tama. So, sana may payong ka dyan para di ka naman magkasakit. Okay, so that's enough shoutouts for now. Let's now move on to the word of the day, Jed. Ano bang word of the day natin ngayon?
Our word of the day is perfect for our guest speaker. And it's Web 3.0.
Yun,
So
Web 3.0.
Web 3 is the current generation of the internet we're in, or wherein cryptocurrencies are a part of. So it's basically grants ownership back to the users, because in Web 1, to give you guys a brief history on the internet, Web 1 is a time of the internet where everything was open sourced, and but it was very limited. You couldn't do much with the internet. It's more of like just reading an online newspaper, an online magazine. It's very limited. So the corporations who had enough resources took advantage of this by developing more sophisticated applications, which led to Web 2. But however, the concern with this is that it centralized all the power of the internet within a few companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, wherein they have a big say on their platforms, and users of these platforms are just merely renters. They don't necessarily own their account. They don't necessarily own the content they produce. They don't easily monetize the things that they create for within that platform, as these companies usually have a pretty high take rate or transaction rate, wherein they take a significant share of your monetizations. That's why Web3 is trying to address the problems of ownership and monetization for the users. With the power of blockchain, they can utilize this technology in order to grant ownership and to share the financial upside of various protocols. Because back in Web 2, the early returns, or the astronomical returns of these early technological companies like Facebook, Twitter, prior to when they were listed in the stock exchange, were only available to the accredited investors and to the venture capitals, when the regulation permits them to be able to invest in early stage companies that aren't even available yet in the public stock market. So this made this somewhat created a bigger gap between the rich and the lesser fortunate. So that was an issue wherein, even though you're a user of Facebook, you didn't share that upside when it was on the rise, even though you were one of the pioneer users. That's why Web3 really aims to address that problem by granting ownership back to these users, by allowing them to share the financial upside, even though it hasn't been listed in the stock market, and an avenue for them to create monetization that directly goes to them, instead of it going to the executives of the top companies. So So that's basically a brief history of Web 3.0, and we hope Pat Lau can further expound on that. But as of the
Yeah,
moment,
mamaya
he's
for
not here
sure.
yet. For sure,
For
it's gonna
sure,
be
mamaya.
interesting. So what's your
Yeah,
take
that's
on Web 3?
Ako lang, Jed. Ako, yun nga, yung sinasabi nga nila, di ba, yung Web 1 is the Internet of Information, as you mentioned. Then Web 2 is the Internet of, crowdsourcing and trying to, they use our data, our contributions to improve the quality of the web. But Web 3 is now we get to ownership. Kasi yan yung one of the main disadvantages ng Web 2, di ba? Narinig mo naman sa Twitter and some other platforms na may, minsan sabi nila may social agenda daw. So, kunyari, when they have, a view that comes against their own views, then they block
That's right.
that person, no? And then parang TY na lang for all the years that you tried to build your network there, yung mga pinaghirapan mo, it's not really owned by you. So ako yung first time kong fortunately yung first time ko na naka-interact si Web3 on a serious basis is really through PDAX, no? Si Michelle, I worked with him in the past in a bank, no? So we've always had this conversation with regard to this technology. Na during that time, Jed, makwento ko lang, medyo hindi pa siya ganun kasikat at medyo fringe pa yung mga topics.
Yeah.
And I can't really join PDAX then. But now, di ba, medyo nagbago na.
When was that?
Mga 2016. And I say this in all of the seminars, Jed, na noong time na first time nag-usap ni Mr. Gaba with regard to crypto, apat pa lang yata. Kakalabas pa lang natin ng Litecoin nun or something. Parang ganun pa lang.
Yeah, alam ko super lang nun.
Super early. How about you, Jed? When did you first interact or when were you introduced to Web3? Man, very interesting.
My first experience with Web3 was with Bitcoin. It was back in 2017 during that mania phase of Bitcoin. I think it was in the fourth quarter. So that's when Bitcoin really shot up. I remember everyone was talking about it on my campus because back then I was still in college. All my friends were talking about Bitcoin. I was like, what is Bitcoin? Like, what is this? It's too volatile. It's too sketchy. How can this be used as a currency? How can something that as volatile as this be used as a currency? So I didn't really understand the value proposition at that time, and I wasn't completely sold. But nonetheless, I actually still bought Bitcoin through Coins.ph. I remember I went to 7-Eleven nearby to fund my Coins.ph wallet and placed a few thousand pesos, like 3,000 pesos lang to try it out and see what happens. Then after a few days later, I think Bitcoin went up 4x. I was like, that's crazy.
Diba? Crazy yan, pare.
Yeah,
for
pero
sure.
I didn't sell. I thought I got a bit greedy. I thought it was going to keep going up. So I just left it there. Then the following week, I saw it below my cost average. So I lost money na. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sad. But I'll just leave it there and see what happens as time goes on. To the point, I forgot about it. And moving on to 2020, wherein...
That's right.
I knew that I have some basic knowledge lang of crypto, wherein at that time, every Bitcoin halving, it would spark a bull run. So I started studying about crypto, studying it again. Then I checked my Coins.ph wallet at that time. I saw my money was back up again. So that was the time when I started being more into crypto, when I got deeper into that rabbit hole.
Right.
Like really interesting experience.
Ako, I remember reading about Bitcoin also. I think nung nagsimula pa lang yan. Kasi so first nasa financial industry tayo and we're always looking for the next best thing. Kaso nga, di ba, of course, you promise yourself, bibili ko kahit isa, kahit dalawa, kahit 1,000 pesos worth, but we never got the chance to interact because wala pang platforms nung araw, no? Napakahirap bumili, no? Parang mag-route ka pa through, mga miners pa, doon ka bibili in cash. So medyo
OTC pa nga yung mga transactions, no? Like literal peer-to-peer, I think.
Yes, correct. So, yun, I guess we can now go through our next, meron ba tayong ad? I think may ad muna tayo bago tayo magsimula dun sa ating the pièce de résistance of this episode. So, yan. May ad ba tayo? Ad. Go!
Everything you need to maximize your crypto journey is here at PDAX Prime. With PDAX Prime, you'll have direct access to the crypto market, allowing you to trade over 50 tokens, including exclusive OTC coins, faster and at competitive rates. PDAX Prime also has a dedicated team of experts who are passionate about crypto and other solutions to help you make the most out of your crypto journey. Plus, as a PDAX Prime client, you'll have early access to our wide array of crypto learning sessions so you can stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join PDAX Prime today.
Yan. So again, we now go to the next part of our we'd like to introduce to everyone the head of the Metaverse for PDAX, Mr. Patrick Lao.
Hey
Sir.
guys, hey Jed, how are you?
Good. How are you, Pat?
I'm very good. Notwithstanding the no the bear market, but I relatively survived the Luna crash unscathed. I was lucky enough to have sold my Luna and my other holdings mga 2 weeks before. So swerte lang, swerte.
Fortunately, yeah.
Jens ang tawag dyan, sir. Mukhang medyo close mo yata si Dokon, hindi kaya?
Parang may insider info ka, Pat.
Hindi mo insider pa kay Do pa.
As the head of Metaverse, may mga certain privileges yan, gentlemen.
Yun po,
Which
siya pare.
is-
Kaya it's
No, I'm okay.
the position to have, sir. Yun, sir, yun. Pinag-uusapan lang namin kanina, di ba, during bear markets, minsan na ako, personal question ko, Pat, ngayong medyo mababa yung mga tokens. Is it not time to, try to consider buying na like Axis right now or trying to buy the shoes with the expectation of keeping the NFTs and later on, pag medyo umangat-angat ulit, then you can participate na, di ba? Anong view mo doon, sir?
Feel ko like, so in terms of your question, di ba, crypto is always in a cycle. I believe it's the only free markets left, the only 100% free markets left in the world, in the sense that the market forces are acting totally unfiltered, no? So kung may tulip mania, talagang to the moon tayo, and then everyone gets, the scams start to pop out, then people start to get disillusioned with the promises of crypto. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves, and then we correct, no? But in terms, I guess, of your question, in terms of tokens, fundamentally sound tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would say, hell yes, it's a great time to buy, or maybe at least average in, to to make allowance for the fact that you cannot predict the market. But in terms of NFT gaming, I would say to still tread carefully. Most of the state of NFT gaming right now is it's a very nascent industry. Axie was the very first, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be the last. For example, there are lots of NFT games in the works. Personally, as head of Metaverse, I've been also talking to guilds and games, and I know there are tons of games in development. And actually, there are two camps kasi right now, for NFT gaming. There are people who believe that, it's the crypto natives that become game development studios that will win the battle. But on the other hand, there are other people who think that it's the other way around. It's the Web2 AAA gaming studios who have mastered these core gaming loops that maybe hire, blockchain advisors, maybe a little bit of smart contract developers, and incorporate blockchain into their game loops that would win. No? So I'm of the second camp. No, I believe that it's much easier to learn blockchain rather than to learn how to be a really good game developer and develop these core loops. And nangyari ngayon is, as you all know, doing a very tight, very good core loop game takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Therefore, right now, the state of the market, Axie is just maybe a little more than a year old. My thesis is that we have yet to see the killer app, the killer NFT game that will come out. So I
Oo.
would advise na parang because of these choppy markets and the fact that yun nga no, it's still not a very mature industry, it would do well to be patient.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, yun nga yung pinag-uusapan namin ni Jed always pag merong news about, yung mga new games or new integrations, blockchains, making it easier for games to, try to cross-integrate, no? Wala pa yung, kumbaga, sweet spot pat ng games na magandang game that we will play it without the economy and there's the economy, di ba? So wala pang ganun.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
waiting for
Correct.
that.
It's very hard kasi to create an economy, a mini economy. Kasi like technically that's what you're doing eh, 'di ba? You're like having a mini country within your virtual economy within your metaverse.
Okay.
And another consequence to that is I think in the future games would also need to have their own central bank.
Mhm.
Kumbaga as games develop their own treasuries, most of these monetization schemes for these games is that they have a tax on maybe cash outs or tax on marketplace transactions like Axie, right? And then
Mhm.
nakikita mo sa ganitong model is that if your game hits it big, it doesn't take a long time for you to accumulate lots of money in the treasury.
Mhm.
And I believe that it's very important in the same way that we have our, Federal Reserve, our central
Mhm.
bank that can regulate the ups and downs and swings, no? There should also be a kind of like a central bank where the game developer should act as that role, no? To in
Mhm.
order to hindi masyado volatile yung mini economy ng game. And then at the
That's
same
right.
time, you have a great point, Ed. The actual game itself, it has to be fun, di ba? You need
Agree.
to
Right.
have the basics, di ba? This is not a sweat economy na ano lang, this is not an occupation. It has to be good. Because
Mhm.
like, the utility out of playing games is two things lang eh. Initially, on Web2, it's just entertainment. We're just getting it purely entertainment. And it was, and it performed admirably. Like, I played Dota without any expectation of financial returns. And
Tama.
now you're putting in the Web3 component na income naman, di ba? So, naging two buckets na, you're expecting entertainment and income, right? So, but if everyone is after income, then mas maraming lumalabas ng pera kasi pumapasok, the economy will crash, and when the economy crashes, that's the point of no return. Diba?
I
Patayin yung
guess,
game mo.
Agree on
oo.
that.
Diba? Yeah.
Very interesting pati nabanggit mo, no, that they should have their own central banks because if you
Yeah.
think about it, meron ka rin parang ano dyan eh, di ba? Kunyari, if there's too much doubt in your particular economy, then people are trying to sell, then somebody should be able to at least intervene and keep the price stable kasi pwede ka rin magkaroon ng
Correct.
recession dyan. Di ba? Pag wala
If I
kang
may
pera,
add
di ba?
also,
Go ahead.
given that, I think one of the tenets of Web 3.0 is decentralization, no, Pat? Do you think it's possible to do it in a Web 3 game since it seems like games needs a lot of centralization intervention, like for balancing the economy, balancing the
Yeah.
game stats in order to make it fair for other players? So I'm just wondering if it's possible to have a decentralized approach or for a game to be decentralized in the end.
Definitely no. So it's just for me, in my opinion, it's a marketing tactic lang na to say that, oh, we have governance, you have tokens, you can decide on which attributes we will emphasize next, what's the next meta. I'm of the camp that, at least at the very, very beginning, it's very important first to have a strong leadership, and then eventually we can decentralize as the whole game economy, as people have figured things out, as everything becomes more stable. But in reality, it's just like the only decentralized component here is the fact that people can earn their own assets because of
True.
NFTs, because of blockchain technology. They can own their own skins or their own Axies. That's a decentralized. But if you played Axie and you talk to a fellow Axie player and then you ask them, is Axie decentralized? They're just gonna laugh at you. It's a hell no because 'di ba? Ang daming centralized part ng Axie, 'di ba? Sino
Yeah.
nagde-decide na mas sa next season mas malakas na tong type of Axie or itong card? May buff or debuff. It's all totally from
Designed.
it's from the game designer. Diba?
Mm.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a necessary thing. It's a
Agreed.
necessary thing because decentralizing things and, making organization reach to the point of a DAO assumes that there's wisdom of the crowd, right? And in reality, we know that crowds are sometimes stupid or they become sorry. Pwede bang sabihin? Can I say that word? But anyway,
Pwede
Yeah, it's
naman,
fine.
pare. It's like part
No
of the
worries.
parlance naman eh. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah. So yun, medyo stupid, di ba? Some people can act in the heat of passion. Some
Correct.
people have their own vested interests. So, and also not people are of the same intelligence level and experience level. So,
Correct.
it's a necessary thing that the game developers should have at least at the very beginning, have the most control and vision on, where they want to take that game forward.
Oo.
Yeah.
I think in market extremes, diyan nawawala totally yung reason ng mga tao. But just to add lang to what Pat mentioned, I think I have a second dream job na pare. My first dream job is the head of the Metaverse. My second dream job is to be the central banker of some some mini economy.
Economist in the metaverse world. No?
Metaverse
Sounds
Okay.
fun.
banker. Di
It's
ba?
like a
Yan. So,
sandbox.
sige sir.
Yeah.
Yan.
But
Feel
So,
ko nga
Hmm.
feel ko as with, 'di ba, before this no such thing as social media managers. Baka next time, 'di ba?
Oo,
Makita mo na
kasi,
lang sa LinkedIn, Central
right.
Bank Governor for X game.
Di ba? Kasi pwede ka maglagay ng mga rates like we're increasing the policy rate of staking by 6% to control the economy.
I
Or
remember listening to a
lower it, di ba?
podcast that
Oh.
gaming companies are looking for like in-game economists to balance
Yun,
the
pare.
game economy. So that's
Mag-a-
pretty
Yes.
interesting. It's actually pretty
Mag-a-apply na
hard.
ako dyan.
It's a hard job, but it's
Oh,
pretty
for
fun.
sure.
It's like the sandbox of you testing out economic principles.
Oh, kasi wala kang dyan eh. Wala kang precedent, but I guess you can test out yung mga real concepts in, di ba, in monetary policy. But anyway, so mapunta naman tayo sa ating mga community questions, Pat. I hope you don't mind, no? To, meron tayong isang
course.
isang viewer na mukhang kilala ka. Hello Lunasian daw. So ito si Mr. Keiichi Shimizu asking, Boss, Pat, matutunaw ba ang Axie Infinity? Right to the point question, Pat.
I'll DM you na lang, Keiichi. Baka maraming sa sagot ko eh. Dahil ako lang. Ano ba? Matutunaw ba ang Axie Infinity? Hard question, no? We can't really predict the future. But what I do know is that the team is hard at work in developing Origins. Now, there are concerns, diba? Like, I'm sure, Keiichi, there are large concerns, diba? Ba't ang bagal, diba? Ba't ang bagal ng team? Wala pa silang ginagawa. And ano yung mga ibang adjustments na pwede lang gawin right now, diba? So, I'm Keiichi, just as a background, I also have my own guild. So, if you have your own guild, you're an Axie player, you would know, no? Napakasakit. Like, yung guild ko from earning this much, biglang sobrang bumagsak. And to be honest, di pa nga ako naka-ROI sa Axie. No? So, I'm with you, no? But I do feel na it would be helpful, at least at this point, bear market tayo. Let's give the team a chance because at least in the bear market, nakita natin yan na kung sino yung mga true believers, sino yung mga long-term players. And si Axie, feel ko, out of all, at the very least, they have enough runway. Runway meaning like may pera naman na sila na naipon to withstand the bear market and come out stronger. So, yeah, I'm not privy to any special information. Actually, pag nakita ko nga si Axie, hindi ko na rin binabasa. But from just my thinking, no one can predict the future, but I think kung may chance man any company to come out alive out of this bear market, it's probably Sky Mavis.
Okay, Pat.
Yes.
What do you think would improve the direction of Axie Infinity? Like, what do the Sky Mavis have to do?
For one, they need to act faster. Own opinion ko lang. Like, at tagal na ng Origin and then the adjustments hasn't been instituted yet. I don't really think na ganun ka. I mean, obviously, creating a game is very hard, but then parang may hangganan din. Feel ko like we need to iterate faster to gain more feedback and do the loops faster. That's a very number one thing. At the same time, they're digging themselves out of a large hole eh. So, laki na ng hole nila kasi like some people na hoard na nila so madaming SLP eh. And every time na tumataas yung SLP na by a little bit, bebenta sila to cash out, babagsak na naman. So, this is gonna be a very long road. And the only way that they can solve that is to just have a very fun game, which brings us to Origin. Number two, they need to start releasing the LAN gameplay. Kasi like, I also have LAN. And masakit kasi like I bought it like for I don't even remember now pero like I bought it for a huge sum. It was supposed to have been launched last year. But up to now, kahit hanggang end of the year, mukhang malabo. So like, diba, they need to release that and make it also a fun game. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was some controversy pa on the LAN gameplay. Parang they didn't talk anything about the gameplay, so it seems like the road ahead is pretty far pa in terms of land.
Yes.
Oo. Parang ina-add din ni Kenichi, no? Parang wala naman daw nagbago. That's a gameplay, wise. So, sige, malundag tayo sa isa pang community question natin, no? Si Malin Bries. Ayan. Asking yata sa atin to, are you listing any lower cap coins like Catcoin, which has NFT play to earn aspects, and Saito for Web3? Naku, yan, masasagot natin yan. Parang hard to say, but definitely, Pat, no, for at least for the coin itself, I can take this question. The coin has to have a lot of following, and there's enough liquidity and also exchange support for us to list it.
So I'll also add Malin, no, and a little bit of Alpha League. We're looking into potentially listing other Metaverse tokens. Yun lang. Sabihin natin. Pero we are open to listing Metaverse tokens based on certain preconditions. So, obviously, pag mas mataas ang market cap ng isang Metaverse token, mas malaking chance na ma-release siya.
Oh, that's good. All right. So, meron pa tayo ibang questions dito from Christian Caburian, one of our regular viewers. No, will Web3 and NFT impact e-commerce? So, yung NFT portion, Pat.
Nako.
Ayan.
I would say that it would impact e-commerce, but not in the sense that you think. So, like, kasi NFTs by its very nature is just a fundraising vehicle. So, parang isipin mo parang nag-Kickstarter ka lang, pero like, it's outside of you're taking out the Kickstarter middleman or the platform. And it's actually right now the wild west. So, but if you're thinking about like real brick and mortar business, like you're selling diapers, diba? And then you're trying to do an NFT or try to introduce NFT aspect into your e-commerce business that's selling diapers. It will affect it, but in the sense that NFTs can be as an parang enhancement lang to the whole business. Example, you can create an NFT for your e-commerce business that would act as kind of an exclusive or VIP membership pass or status that you can offer to your most loyal most loyal customers, where they can enjoy exclusive perks. Only to that extent. But like if you're thinking about NFTs that will totally replace e-commerce, I don't think so, because Web2 is very good at doing that. Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
think
So
Web3 is like parang added supplement lang to Web2.
Correct.
How it's gonna be.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay, so guys, if you have any more questions sa ating guest speaker ngayon, so Mr. Patrick Lao, just to make sure that you type in your question. So ito siguro, Pat, no? Another question from my side. Ito, something that a lot of my friends and also yung mga people that I talk to, no? What are the 3 things that you can actually share with them if they're planning to engage the NFT as an art collector? So is there anything you can share? Because I think people have a knack of remembering 3 things. So ano kaya yung 3 things na yun, Pat?
as an NFT collector, siguro at least sa art side, not on the play to earn side, no, but on the
Mm.
art side, I would simply suggest, and taking into consideration the conditions of the market, no, take your time. The bear market is a great time to invest in yourself. And what do I mean by that? You invest in knowledge, improving yourself and your understanding of the market. Um, Take your time. So number one, take your time and learn and invest in yourself. Number two, only invest in crypto art that you think um, you'll be comfortable with holding for a very long period of time, because sometimes that will happen. No? You'll be stuck with it for an indefinite amount of time. Diba? Lord knows, all of my NFTs, as in like I'm stuck with them forever. whether, whether I like it or not, like all my 300 to 400 NFTs, diba? It really does happen, right? So, and
Mhm.
then as a subset of that, that means that you really have to um, believe in the artist, like the art, and would want to support that artist. Because in one angle, crypto art is simply just, purchasing NFTs is simply just a form of patronage as well. Diba? So, yun. Take your time, invest in yourself. Only buy those things that, you're comfortable having for an indefinite period of time. And of course, only invest in um, amounts that you're willing to lose. So like all of these problems arise naman out of speculating, no? So expecting that you can flip it. But it may seem, those stories of NFT flippers, it may seem very cool or heroic, but the reality is NFTs are the most illiquid things ever in crypto, right? Kung kala mo real estate illiquid, try NFTs, right? So it's much, the variety is much more, mas maraming variety, mas maraming subsets, maraming industries, maraming interest groups. And because of this, diba, it's even in the name, it's non-fungible, diba? So by necessity, it's illiquid, right? If you want something that you can easily exit out of, you'd probably do better with crypto tokens, right? Crypto assets, right? Coins. But on NFTs, expect that, when you invest in it, it's for non-monetary reasons. It's for support of that artist.
Okay.
As
Sige.
a follow-up question of that, to those who aren't familiar with the NFT space, where do they begin? It's such a wide industry. Where do they start to navigate or to identify promising projects?
Um, the best place to research would be in crypto, would be, at least for me, crypto Twitter. So you have to have a good grasp of Twitter. So think of Twitter as like the town hall, the town square of crypto, where everyone can join and exchange ideas and sell their wares, sell their ideas, sell their products. So number one, crypto Twitter. But it's not as easy as that. You would have to have a good sense of the influencers, the builders, the people who have quote unquote alpha. So you need to be very good at filtering information and filtering out who are the main players that you would need to follow and get advice from. So that's how you start. Dive deep into crypto Twitter, read, learn about the players, and then from there you will start to discover slowly. You'll start to discover, oh, itong project na to meron sa Twitter. Ito meron. And then how do you go deeper? Normally you just click on their Discord server and you join the Discord, and that's when you are introduced to their community na. So yung community, more information about an NFT project, its utility, its team members, its roadmap, and such. No? So Twitter, Discord. For me, Metaverse is mostly, at least right now, Twitter and then Discord. And then maybe supplementary na yan would be, Medium articles, podcasts, YouTube videos.
Yan, galing. So that's I think the preferred approach sa mga ganito, no? And I think I really can resonate with what you said, no? Minsan liquidity is for me one of the determinants whether I should enter an investment or not. Kasi pag kailangan mo or you wanna exit or you wanna change or shift, importante na may market who's ready to buy. buy it.
Exactly.
Okay, so some other questions from our community, no? To medyo mga some of the more interesting questions. Dahil pa dito, no? Ito, mukhang nasagot mo na to, ano? Itong, is the community important in NFT? Di ba? Yes, no? Pat,
Of
tama ba?
course.
The most
Of
important
course.
thing.
It's the most important thing, yeah. If you think about NFTs, NFTs is just a tokenized form of community, diba? So like,
Mhm.
um, if you create, like a good way to think about it is, diba, money or tokens is a way to transact with people that you don't trust, right? So it's a way to reduce friction with people that you don't share interest with, diba? But in a community, um, m- that function of money is less important because whether it be you're sharing the same interest, same passion, you trust them, they're your friends. Money is less of a factor, no, in gluing that together. So NFTs naman is that form, the tokenized form of community and the culture of that community. So, take for example, and if you sort through all of the great NFT projects, may kanya-kanyang archetypes or persona yan. Diba? So like, BASI, Bored Ape Yacht Club. So it stands for like being cool or like mga celebrities, yung mga the best of the best, diba? And then Azukis would be anime lovers, diba? So pag select mo each NFT community that are successful, they focus on a certain aspect of community or passion or shared interest. So yes, very very important. And it's actually the very essence of NFTs.
Okay. Another question siguro. Ito, I think medyo depende rin, ano? Sir Patrick, anong mas risky, NFT or crypto for investment?
Both are risky, my friend. Both are risky.
Magkaiba lang, ano? Yung isa sa
Magkaiba
volatility, isa
lang.
sa liquidity.
Yes, magkaiba lang. Napansin ko lang like, NFTs attract different types of people as with crypto, no? Actually, sometimes both din. But then, I've known people na ini-ignore nila yung buong crypto and then nung nagkaroon ng NFT doon, pumasok na sila because they actually get it. Diba?
Mhm.
At the very beginning pa lang siguro may collector's mindset sila, na-get sila yung community aspect, na-get sila yung utility, and then they dove right in. But the risk profiles vary, and I would think that ang opinion ko lang would be if I had a gun pointed to my head, siguro NFTs are riskier. Simply
Okay.
because of the
The
liquidity
liquidity.
aspect.
Right.
Now,
Right.
how do you mitigate that? How do you mitigate the illiquidity of NFTs? And this is my thesis, no. And the main reason why BASI, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and all of these 10,000 PFPs are very successful is exactly because they kind of mitigated that illiquidity. Because by buying into a Bored Ape Yacht Club, you're buying into a collection with 9,999 other like-minded people who are potential buyers for that time when you sell. As opposed to buying a one-of-one artwork. Kung bumili ka ng isang one-of-one artwork lang, kanino mo bebenta, di ba? So, kailangan mo i-convince sa yung tao na yun na, oh, okay, itong artist na pili ako. Pero kung bumili ka ng Bored Ape, gusto mo nang benta yung Bored Ape mo, may other Bored Ape members na pwedeng bumili from you. So parang na-mitigate konti yung liquidity niya. Yung
Mhm.
10,000 projects, they're the most liquid ng NFT. That's why feeling ko if you do the branding right, it's the most successful as well.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have for this afternoon. Pat, thank you very much for joining us this
You too.
afternoon. No, siguro bago ka namin pakawalan, Pat, is there any final like advice or tip that you can share with our viewers for tonight?
For tonight, my advice lang is bear markets are make the most out of crypto when they're in bear markets. This is the best time to wind down, invest in yourself, learn. Yun yung pinaka-importante, because once you know the fundamentals ng technology, um, mas madali for you when you reach the bull market. Mas madali na to sort out the scams, the Ponzi schemes, and it will make you a better investor overall. Yeah. So that's it. Very simple tip lang.
All right. Thank you very much, Pat. No, as you've heard from Pat, during bear markets, it's time to learn and build. Yeah. So sige,
Yes, sir.
mag-learn pa tayo kahit pa some more. No, so for those of you who are members of PDAX Prime or PDAX Premium, we will be sending out yung recorded version ng seminar ni Pat conducted 2 weeks ago, yung Hitchhiker's Guide to the Metaverse. So make sure that if you're not yet a Prime or Premium customer, then make sure you do upgrade kasi marami pa tayong mga iba't ibang mga learning events that we can share with you guys. And yon, sige. All right, thanks, Pat. So now let's move on to some of our business. Ano ba to? Ako ba to? Okay, let me check Yan. So double. Jed, you want to take this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have this promo going on for our 4 new tokens, wherein you can double the amount you bought when you cash in and buy any of Sol, BNB, XLM, and Sushi. So if you want to check out the full mechanics, just check in our Facebook page and our community pages for this particular post.
All right. Next up, we have also Fresh Money in Spotify. So if you have fans of the show, you've missed one, or you want to, relive our discussions, then you can always go to your Spotify and look for Fresh Money.
We are also available in TikTok. So if you want to see some highlights of our webinars or even Fresh Money episodes, just scan this QR code and just so you can stay up to date with what's happening in PDAX as well.
All right. And also, wala na pala yun. So ito. Hoy, natanggal na to dapat. Pero syempre, sige, pag-usapan pa rin natin. We have expanded your limits in cryptocurrency. So the higher your account, the higher your balances are going to be. So, kunyari, if you're an verified account from 50 to 100K, yung kayong daily limit. So, pag monthly, 2 million na. Ang annual is 20 million. Pag premium, from 100K to 250K per day. So, ito yung cash in, cash out limits. Pati yung 5 million for monthly and 50 million for annual. For PDAX Prime, it's unlimited.
If you want to join our community, you scan the respective QR codes for Discord, Facebook, and Telegram so you can stay up to date with what's happening in PDAX and chat with our fellow community members.
And of course, yung ating proposition launched a few months ago, yung PDAX Prime, be at the forefront of the crypto revolution. If you want to enjoy, of course, direct access to the crypto market where you can trade and transact directly from a chat group and a chat setup, you can do so. You also have guidance to the crypto journey with us, with PDAX Prime team, and also yung ating learning sessions like yung Hitchhiker's Guide to the Metaverse. And now, talking about yung mga learnings, meron tayong exploring the world of digital assets. I think we renamed this already to Unlocking Crypto. We are running our next show by next month. I think we have an AMA version of this coming in June 6. So make sure that you are tuned in to our Facebook page. And of course, we've come to the end of our show. Let's now award, Jed, our winners. Yung tatlong winners natin.
Yes, for our first winners, Keiichi Shimizu for asking about Axie Infinity. So just take a screenshot of this live stream and send it to our Facebook page to claim your reward. Just make sure that the Facebook page you're addressing to is the one with the check mark, the one that's verified.
That's right. So wag basta-basta sa mga PDAX na may mga quit sa taas ng A, wag yan. And also, another winner for us is si Mr. Mer Balani. How important is community to NFT? Sabi ni Pat, very important. So congratulations, Mr. Mer. Make sure that you do a screenshot of this and then send it and interact with our official Facebook page. You may check, as Jed has mentioned.
Right, and for our last winner, one of our regulars, Christian Caburian. I'm sure he knows the drill already on how to claim his prize, but just a quick reminder, just take a screenshot and send it to our Facebook page.
Yan. Alam mo nang gagawin, marami ka ng beses nanalo.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so that's all the time we have for now. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening. Once again, I'm Ed Martinez.
And I'm Jed Ignacio.
Thank you for watching Fresh
Fresh money.
Money. Yeah. Pwede na. All right. Thanks, Jed. Bye, guys.